In addition to the candidates, voters approved a new plan to fund road construction in Texas. Welcome back to State of Texas In Depth. I'm Josh Hinkle. Before the election, we dedicated a program to that transportation vote. And joining me today is Scott Haywood. He is with Move Texas Forward. Thank you for being with us. I appreciate it.
It's good to be here.
So you guys were the ones that were really pushing for this proposition. Now that you've got it, they've been saying it's only a small portion of what TxDOT needs to keep up with growth and development. Put all those roads out there. What do you think the legislature is going to have to do next session?
Well, that's right. This was the first step in filling the transportation funding gap that we have as a state. It was a critical first step, a huge amount of money, $1.7 billion. But with a $5 billion funding gap, there's still more work to be done. The legislature is going to have to address that. We're a growing state. We have huge infrastructure needs, and roads are certainly a big part of that. The transportation system is a part of that. So we're going to have to look at what are the revenue sources that the legislature will start to dedicate towards transportation moving forward.
And your group isn't going to disappear after this election. You guys are going to keep going and advocating for more projects.
That's right. We're going to keep working on this. Again, it's only a third of the funding gap that we've been able to fill. So we want to keep working, try to find that solution to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place for the state. Looking at some of the options that the legislature has already talked about. You had Speaker Strauss earlier this year talking about ending the diversions of money that's going into the state highway fund that's not being used for transportation. That's certainly something that we're going to be working towards as well. Just earlier this week, you saw Governor-elect Abbott talking about transportation being one of his priorities, and he's talked about taking part of the motor vehicle sales tax and dedicating that towards transportation. I think that's another great idea that we'd like to spend a lot of time looking at.
With so many ideas out there that need money, you know, border security, education, healthcare, is it going to be tough to compete with that this session compared to last session, you think?
I think that's always the challenge. You know, you have a competing priorities trying to get money from the state budget, but there's a lot of talk about transportation right now. And the great thing when you hear people talking about what happened with Proposition 1, they're all talking about it as the first step. So there's a recognition from the legislature that we still have more work to be done on transportation. We're very hopeful that we can go into this session and continue to work on that issue. And I think that is going to be something that they look to address.
You know, we went down to Karnes County for our special, and that's where the energy sector part of it is, and we have talked about a large portion of the money that needs to be dedicated to highways would go to those highways that are torn up by those oil rigs and the machinery that goes there. Are we going to keep seeing that, or do you feel like we've kind of finally made some headway there?
Well, I think we are going to keep seeing that. I mean, with oil and gas production that's happening in the state, that's going to continue to be a need that we have. There's real significant safety concerns with that, and we just have to have the infrastructure that will continue to support that oil and gas production here in Texas. So I think you'll see some of this money going towards that. It's something that the Texas Department of Transportation has asked for in their legislative appropriations request to the legislature. They want in their budget to have more funding to take care of those needs. So I think as long as we have that activity taking place here in the state, that's going to be a real need that needs to be addressed.
All right, Scott, thank you for being with us. I appreciate it.
Great.
Looking forward to seeing what happens next session.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you for joining us for State of Texas In Depth. We will take a deeper look at the big political stories in Texas every week, Sunday mornings at 8:30. Stay tuned because NBC's Meet the Press with Chuck Todd is coming up at 9.